coverage you can count on. This is Fox 2 News at 9.
Inch by inch and foot by foot, the Merrimack River is claiming more of Interstate 55. The latest on MoDOT's efforts to keep this major interstate open.
Rising floodwaters continue to worry homeowners and drivers. We'll show you the latest impact on their daily lives.
Tonight, police guarding the evacuated areas in Valley Park as residents and business owners hope the levee will hold.
The flood fight continues in Eureka with many streets and businesses underwater. The city's mayor says this flooding is historic.
Driving in St. Louis tonight, a story of U-turns, closure signs, and a lot of high water.
Still lots of clouds hanging across the St. Louis area. We are in for another cold night. But what about the last day of the year and the new year? I'll have the forecast.
First on Fox, Bommarito Automotive Skyfox live over South St. Louis County, where the water continues to get higher on southbound Interstate 55. MoDOT crews are working to keep the water away, but it is an uphill fight. Good evening, I'm Mandy Murphy. Vic Faust is off tonight. The waters are rising quickly tonight. We have live team coverage of the situation tonight as the growing list of road closures is making it increasingly difficult to get around the area. But we begin tonight with Fox 2 meteorologist Chris Higgins, who is in the Fox 2 storm pilot in South County, where MoDOT is racing to keep back the rising waters on I-55. Chris?
Yeah, Mandy, I tell you what, it is an uphill battle, as you said. It is a battle against Mother Nature and the clock, and I'm afraid MoDOT may be losing the battle on all fronts here. It has been touch and go all evening long. I'm going to back out of the way and do a little bit of a tour about what's going on here right now, and it is very dramatic, the scene that has been unfolding here as we've been going through this evening. From minute to minute, this makeshift sandbag wall gets longer and longer and longer. I estimate it's now about 1/3 of a mile long and about 3 feet high, and it runs the entire length from Merrimack Bottom Road here all the way down to the bridge to protect what they can of the traffic that's trying to make its way southbound on Interstate 55. They are trying desperately to keep this stretch of Interstate 55 open as long as possible, but as you can see, this is the scene it's been unfolding all evening long. Dump truck and cement truck after cement truck coming in to fill these big bags. They get about 100 feet or so done every 15 minutes or so. The water that you see in the foreground here, Mandy, that is water that has overlapped the on-ramp from Missouri Bottom Road here, or Merrimack Bottom Road, and has filled this retaining area, this ditch that runs next to Interstate 55. Well, that water is now up high enough that were this bag not in place, or this wall of bags not in place, the interstate would already be closed. But as I zoom in here, here's the problem that they're running into right now. We're down to 2 lanes of traffic. 2 of the 4 lanes are open, but the problem that we're running into now are the sewers. The water is coming up from underneath the roadway right now, and I'm going to throw on my extender here and get in a little bit closer, so bear with me. And you can see the way the scene looks right now. You cannot get from St. Louis County to Jefferson County on 55 without driving through a flooded roadway. Interstate 55 southbound is flooded, but it is passable. They're watching it very, very carefully to make sure that it doesn't get icy, for one, but it doesn't get too deep and become a concern. But you have to drive through the water to get from St. Louis County up into, or down into Jefferson County. We heard from MoDOT not too long ago, earlier this evening, about what they hope folks need to do, what they want folks to do in order to get ready for the potential for tonight's closure.
But I do think we have to be realistic. We have to start telling everybody they need to figure out which side of the river they need to be on, just in case MoDOT's not successful at keeping that water off I-55. Most of our, if not all of our Merrimack River crossings into North Jefferson County may be closed when everyone wakes up in the morning.
It has been nothing short of a heroic effort out here tonight, Mandy. Hundreds, several hundred at least, I don't have the exact number, of MoDOT workers are on the scene here in absolutely deplorable conditions. It is cold. They are all getting into the water. Yes, they have boots on, but I tell you what, if I were wet and getting into this water right now, it is extremely uncomfortable, and extremely cold. But they are out here, and they tell me they're going to fight until they can't fight any longer, trying to make sure this interstate stays open. Reporting live with the storm pilot in South St. Louis on Interstate 55, I'm meteorologist Chris Higgins.
You're looking at a live picture from Bommarito Automotive Skyfox over the area as people are driving through that water. And as that continues to rise, things are changing. We'll let you know exactly what happens and if there are any closures on 55. Bommarito Automotive Skyfox over 141 between Fenton and Arnold earlier this evening, where MoDOT crews have now closed a section just north of Highway 21. In our continuing live team coverage of the flooding situation, Chandrea Thomas is live in Valley Park with what people are seeing there and the obstacles they're facing. Chandrea?
Well, I have to say, we actually ended up here after trying to make our way to Arnold earlier today. And let me show you, the scene is very dramatic here. Road signs are covered, actually taking over the roads, and that story is playing itself out all across the region. Our trip to Jefferson County took a series of twists and turns, and our crew, along with others, ended up in Fenton, and we shared the same story. The roads were blocked and the detours were off the charts.
This morning had to take a detour because I live in South County, and they closed 30 off at Faith Church, so I had to do a back road to 270 to 55, back down 141. Got to work a little late this morning, and then everybody's been trying to figure out how to get out of the bluffs all day.
We also encountered a group along Saline Road near 141 and found people struggling to save their homes from rising floodwaters, and others who had a hard time making it home to their own front door.
And all the rumors that are going around, I can't tell you how many times we got calls today. This road's closed, 55's closed, and nobody knew what to believe.
I don't have much, but what I have I'd like to keep, you know. It's taken me a long time to get what I've got, and it might all go.
I keep hearing people say, oh, the flood in 93 wasn't this bad, and you know, it's like I wasn't there in 93, I'm only 15, so it's freaking me out.
As for the area of 141 and 44, people spent the day taking pictures in amazement of what the raging floodwaters can do. But until the water levels drop, the worries of what's next will be on the minds of those who have lost everything and others who hope nature's wrath will somehow pass them by.
I'm scared to death that next thing I know, it's going to be too late and I'm not going to be able to get out.
So again, you can see it's a very striking scene here as the waters rage on, and we'll continue to keep an eye on the situation here as it evolves. Reporting live in Valley Park, Chandrea Thomas, Fox 2 News.
Missouri Governor Jay Nixon toured the flood damage in Pacific today. The governor says 14 people have died in flooding across the state this week. All but one was caused by accidents when they drove through the high water at night. The governor says Missourians will ultimately win this battle with Mother Nature.
We are here before the water rises. We're here after it falls. We're here until this place is back to where it was before.
But at this point, Mother Nature still has the upper hand. Tonight, Bommarito Automotive Skyfox was over Darty Ferry and Big Bend around 7 o'clock this evening, and there you can see water bubbling up out of the storm drains. The crest in Valley Park just hours away, but parts of Valley Park have been evacuated now as a precaution. Fox 2's Jeff Bernthal is live with whether the levee is expected to hold. Jeff?
City officials believe it will, Mandy. That is good news. The crest expected around midnight. We can see plenty of St. Louis County police officers guarding some of the evacuated areas. We've noticed some businesses moving their equipment to higher ground as a precaution, and there is a strong demand for U-Haul trucks, people loading them up with whatever they can, and tonight just keeping their fingers crossed. It's pretty much a ghost town in parts of Valley Park. Roadblocks set up around the low-lying areas, business owners and residents hoping the levee will hold. A few miles away, traffic diverted around Big Bend and Doherty Ferry because instead of water draining, it was pushed back into the road.
All the way.
Earlier in the day, sandbaggers went to work around this Valley Park business just in case the levee fails.
If you look at the levee behind us, we only got a foot to go until it's, totally over the top.
City officials tell us they're confident the levee will hold. Workers added to the top of the flood walls in order to keep the water back, and the mayor tells us the expected crest will not top the levee.
Talking with the Corps, we feel very confident. They like the integrity of the levee and how it's holding up to the water. and they monitor it every day, morning, noon, and night, and we monitor it every hour.
There is flooding in some areas, and some residents are temporarily trapped in neighborhoods by water covering roads. Heather Calvin says that's the case with her family.
They're very stocked with supplies, water, all kinds of food.
She says this flood brings back painful memories of '93.
I still can't believe that it's even happening. Especially I was 11 years old when the flood in '93 came, and I remember boats being around here. So it's pretty scary right now, especially how vacant this whole entire area is.
Even though city officials are confident the levee will hold, many residents say they'll not be getting any sleep tonight. The crest again expected at midnight. It should hold steady for a few hours and then start to slowly drop by noon, certainly. And at this point, the mayor telling us the Army Corps of Engineers very confident that this levee will hold. Reporting live from Valley Park, Jeff Bernthal, Fox 2 News.
Floodwater reached Eureka High School today. This is the view from Bommarito Automotive Sky Fox over that area earlier this afternoon. The school took precautions and got sandbags up around the school, and school officials say it helped. They say some water got inside, but there is no damage.
We took on some water in a couple of the areas. Our wrestling room took on water. We have an aerobics room in the lower part of the building that took on some water, and the locker room and a few storage areas. But we had cleaned things out for the most part, and we don't see anything that would be real permanent damage, things that we can pretty quickly get back to normal. And we know with some outside experts and help, we can get things cleaned up pretty quick as soon as we regain access to the campus.
Dr. Cano says school should still resume as scheduled on Tuesday. Well, the floodwaters in Eureka forced many businesses and homes to be evacuated, prompting several daring rescues. Fox 2's Kelly Hoskins continues our Flood Watch team coverage from there. Kelly?
Mandy, we are at 1st and Central Street, which is the heart of Eureka. And as you can see behind me, the street is underwater and various businesses have been flooded. The city's mayor is calling the flooding historic. Massive flooding in Eureka prompted many rescues, along with homes and businesses destroyed.
Okay, this is Central Avenue. This is the beginning of Eureka.
The Eureka's mayor, Kevin Coffey, says it's hard looking at part of his town underwater.
Yeah, this is the largest flood we've ever had by far in recorded history of the Merrimack River here at Eureka. We're going to be about 28 feet over flood stage.
Business owners who were hit hard by the flooding had great hopes that their efforts of sandbagging would have protected their buildings from ruin.
Only works up to a certain point. Once the water's over it, it's just going to hold the water in.
But reality is now sinking in.
We had another flood, you know, in '08, I guess, and it came up to the step, but it's never come up this far before. So, yeah, it's awful.
Residents who frequent the downtown area for dining and shopping paid a special visit Wednesday to view the flooded area, hoping the town will recover.
It is really shocking to see it flooded. Yeah, like I said, we were just eating lunch there yesterday, and you know, this is the heart of Eureka, and it's just shocking to see it underwater.
There have been about 50 rescue missions, usually involving at least 2 or 3 people at each location, and often several pets as well. Mayor Coffey says this is truly history in the making, with floodwaters not covering the area like this since 1982.
We have quite a few here in Old Town. We have some apartments underwater across the highway. We have a lot of basements flooded.
The city mayor says that he's expecting the water here to recede in the next 8 hours, and the cleanup process will start in 36 hours. The city will be looking for hundreds of volunteers to help with that process. Live in Eureka, Kelly Hoskins, Fox 2 News.
In Illinois, Granite City officials say there have not been any massive evacuations, but people living in 2 mobile home parks have been advised to leave. About 75 to 100 families were rescued by boat from high water at the Village Green Mobile Home Park on Sunday. And in Cahokia, video from this afternoon shows water rising into the building and submerging some vehicles at Pay Later Auto Sales. They are said to have moved all of their vehicles to another lot. And you can see all of the area road closings, river crest, and Sky Fox live video on our website, fox2now.com, our Fox 2 Now Facebook page, and our Fox 2 News app. Just search Fox 2 St. Louis in the Apple and Google Play stores. And we're going to take another live picture right now from I-55 at Merrimack Bottom Road, and you can see 2 lanes of traffic still getting through there as MoDOT tries to hold that water back, but the water is rising. And Chris mentioned earlier some concerns about freezing, Dave.
Yeah, we're still at 33. We've been at 33 all evening long. We will drop back into the 20s overnight tonight. The key is that the water is moving. You know, in almost all locations, and that will prevent a lot of freezing. But on some of the areas where the water is pooling and holding still, there's going to be some ice forming. It is the unbearable part of a December flood.
Yeah.
It is just brutal out there. No rain again today and tonight. That's about the only good news we can find. The rivers continue to be this major problem, cold weather problem. Let's check out the latest numbers on the Mississippi. The crest continues to be working downriver, reaching St. Louis late Thursday night into Friday morning and then moving to the south. So things starting to slowly improve on the Mississippi River by the end of the week. The Missouri, more good news here. The river falling now at Herman and Washington, the crest reaching St. Charles in about 2 hours or so. So it's just about there right now. And as we have seen and as we've been talking about the last couple of days, the flooding hotspot continues to be the Merrimack River, with record flooding still going on, especially from Pacific to Arnold. However, the crest is now progressing, moving downstream, but the water is still rising in Valley Park and Arnold. And due to the backwater effect from the Mississippi River, flooding is going to be a problem for several days, even though the crest will move through over the next 24 hours or so. This water is not going to recede very quickly at all. It's going to be hanging around. The Illinois River at Hardin, just about at crest or peak right now. Any fall will be slow again to a bit of a backwater effect. The good news, there's no rain or snow for several days. However, I am seeing another round of rain on the horizon around the 7th and 8th of January, and that certainly is a concern as we go down the pike. I'll have more on our shorter term weather on the way in about 15 minutes, Manny.
All right, Dave, thank you. Flooded roads and highways are causing traffic gridlock in parts of St. Louis through rush hour and even at this hour. When Fox 2 News at 9 returns, navigating around the city with hundreds of roads underwater. Continuing our flood watch coverage tonight, Highway 141 shut down between Arnold and Fenton. I-44 and 141 closed in Valley Park. Highways 30 and 21 closed near the Merrimack River in South County. This is all causing a real traffic nightmare across St. Louis. There has been major gridlock on every major street and highway south of Interstate 44 and west of Lindbergh. Fox 2's George Sells is live in South County, where Highway 70 is still jam-packed at this hour. This is just crazy, George.
Yeah, it has been something to see. It has just started to really let up here on 270 in the last little while. A far cry from earlier, with jam-ups here on 270 as well as the ones on 55 and 44. The spillover affected nearly every surface street in South County. This was the picture on Lindbergh for hours on end. A trip from Manchester to Tesson Ferry took nearly 3 hours. Many still had a long way to go.
She lives in Fenton, so I'll have to go figure out how to get her back into Fenton. So it might be midnight before we get home.
How long have you been sitting?
2 hours.
How frustrating is this getting?
It's really frustrating. I'm trying to go home. We were on our way to Fenton Valley Park, but it's flooded and all the highways are closed, so we have to go back home.
And Lindbergh was the shortcut. Drivers on 270 were faring no better. From Bommarito Automotive Sky Fox, it really plays out. There is no way around the traffic, no matter how well you know the back roads. Floodwaters have slowed the southern quadrant to a crawl. Really slow. And if you think it's bad for locals, imagine being from out of town. This couple driving from Wisconsin to Arkansas found themselves on Highway 30, where the river is across the road. Not quite sure how they got here. How long have you been in the St. Louis area?
Well, probably about 3 hours running around, 4 hours, and still haven't got out of here yet.
Didn't plan to visit our fair city, did you?
Oh, I like the city, but it's interesting. Let's put it that way. Very interesting.
A trucker heading to Oklahoma when the only road to the southwest is closed. It's no better. You really don't have any idea how you're going to get to Oklahoma at this point?
No. Just know to go down 55 and whatever way they tell me to go.
Hoping for the best.
Yeah.
And with water continuing to rise in many areas, this is not likely to improve. Are you getting frustrated yet?
I'm getting hungry.
But once we get home, we're not going back out.
Kind of a good news, bad news proposition now as far as tomorrow goes. The good news is fewer people will be working and therefore commuting because it's New Year's Eve. The bad news, however, the possibility of a closure on 55 could make all this that much more confusing. We're live in South County. George Sells, Fox 2 News.
Historic flood levels are drawing people out to see the water. Still ahead on Fox 2 News at 9, the impact it's having on businesses near the flood. And welcome back to Fox 2 News at 9. If you're just now joining us, the top story tonight, the flood and all of the problems associated with it. We want to show you what's happening right now. 2 lanes of southbound 55 are still open right now as MoDOT crews race against the rising Merrimack River to keep the water off the highway. Crews have built a long sandbag wall, but water is still coming up through the storm drains. Right now, cars are getting through several inches of water. MoDOT says that it may have to close the interstate sometime overnight. The floodwaters at I-44 and 141 in Valley Park has become a very popular place for visitors. Fast food restaurants are surrounded by water. Sightseers are coming in with cameras and wanting to get a picture of this historic flood. From one side to the other is as wide as the Missouri River. Restaurant owners in the area are making decisions minute by minute. MoDOT is hoping to reopen the intersection by Friday, but the water first has to go down. And then they're going to need to clean up the mess and check for all the damage. Bommarito Automotive Skyfox is getting us some of the best video of flooding around the area. This morning, these must-see pictures of a home floating away down the Merrimack River. This was just south of Eureka, east of Route 109. Viewers are also sending us some incredible video. Take a look at this one. This is from Chris Allen of a submerged home crashing into the Gravois Road Bridge in Fenton, breaking into pieces. Well, Missouri American Water is asking people living in South County to conserve water tonight. People living in these communities may experience lower than normal water pressure. The quality of the drinking water is still good, but the company wants customers to conserve their water and avoid unnecessary water usage for the next few days.
We are asking people in the South County area to just conserve a little water and to be prepared for slightly lower water pressure later tonight and early tomorrow morning as we handle the situation.
Could this get worse, or do you feel like you've got a handle on it right now?
I feel like we have a handle on it right now. We prepared for it. We have filled up our tanks. We're pumping water from other plants. We're doing everything we can to make sure that customers get the volume of water they expect. And despite all the things going on with the river, water is good and safe to drink.
And you can see all of the area road closings, river crest, and Skyfox live video on our website, fox2now.com, our Fox 2 Now Facebook page, and our Fox 2 News app. Just search Fox 2 St. Louis in the Apple and Google Play stores. We have a quick update now on the situation on Interstate 55 at Merrimack Bottom Road. 55 northbound is now closed. Again, northbound 55 closed. Still 2 lanes getting through on southbound 55, but the water is rising on the southbound side. We'll have more on this coming up a little bit later.
The death toll rises along with the floodwaters in the Midwest. At least 20 people killed in Missouri and Illinois over the last couple of days, and the water rescues are still taking place. Midwestern states inundated with deadly flooding. This entire home floating down the swollen Merrimack River in Missouri. Other houses and structures staying up but getting completely saturated. This man and his dog being rescued from a rooftop, water lapping at the edges. The man falling in as he tries to get the dog into the boat. Rivers and streams reaching levels not seen in the area for more than 2 decades. The flooding forcing hundreds of roads and highways in the region to close. Northern England bracing for another round of severe flooding. Shops and businesses just beginning to dry out from last week's devastating flooding. Now another storm is on the way with torrential rain and gale-force winds. Weeks of wet weather has caused catastrophic flooding across northern England. One company using a unique tool to help clear snow from power lines this winter, a helicopter. The Spokane Electric Cooperative is using the technique to help restore power in parts of Washington and northern Idaho. 2 helicopters will be used to clear off the snow, the process they call buzzing the lines. The helicopters will fly a safe distance above the power lines, creating a downward wind to blow off the snow. And looking to take your winter activities to the next level this winter? Then go to Utah at the Olympic Park. It's the perfect place for you. Extreme sledding is now on the landing hill of the Nordic ski jumps. You do have to be 10 years or older to take the plunge. And if we ever get any snow here, we can do that out at Hidden Valley. Let's recap the forecast out the door in the morning for the rush. Lots of clouds, plenty of cold to start the day. Last day of the year. Humidity is high, but no rain or snow. Temperatures mid to upper 20s for the morning rush. And check that 5-day forecast in a couple of minutes on Fox 2 News at 10.
All right, Dave, thank you. A Eureka man rescued from his truck in the middle of the floodwater. When Fox 2 News at 9 returns, he explains why he thought it was important he risk his life. Bommarito Automotive Skyfox captured several rescues on camera today, including this one of a driver stranded just after 7 o'clock this morning on I-44, about a mile east of 109. The driver stopped and waited for help. Minutes later, first responders arrived by boat to rescue her, and then moments after the boat took off, a pickup truck pulled up. The boat brought the woman back to her car, then both vehicles took off the wrong way on a shut-down I-44. Through the flooded roadway and then back to dry land. In Eureka, a man rescued from his truck in the middle of the floodwaters. Turns out he is a gun shop owner, and he told our Chris Hayes he felt he had to get his merchandise out of harm's way.
He said he's thankful to firefighters, but also police officers. He said he had to be out there. He's the owner of Tier 1 weapon systems, and he did not want his guns to get into the wrong hands. Sam Andrews told me he did get everything out. He just needed a little extra hand to get it all. We were watching live from Skyfox when firefighters pulled him out. He was in his pickup with his final load of weapons. You could see his legs hang out the back window as he steered his way to dry land. Water gushed out of his truck, but Andrews said he remained dry. He said he even took off his shirt and jacket and put it on top of his truck so that he would have something dry to wear once he was out of the floodwater. He explains how quickly the water surrounded his shop overnight.
I went to sleep about 1:50, and the parking lot was completely dry, and I woke up at 3 a.m. to the sound of water hitting the sandbags and starting to creep in the shop. And so we moved some of the more expensive things to high ground, got the computers off the floor, and then got the high-end stuff into the truck, into the cab of the truck and underneath some of the wood, and then tried to get out.
He said it didn't take long for him to find out that he had just been on live TV because he heard about it from his friends, neighbors, and his wife. And when I asked, was his wife worried about it, he laughed and he showed me a text where she wrote, "Are you done playing in the water?" In Eureka, Chris Hayes, Fox 2 News.